Still stuck in Santa Claus parade traffic here, so the European update. Brussels and the Wicked Witch of the West, Ursula von der Leyen. Trump's proposed peace plan. In the UK and Germany, polling shows the decrease in the popularity of Donald Trump in the general populace. Why? Well, both countries have World Economic Forum governments and, I'll say, state-influenced media. Now, the prospect of peace in Europe has the industrial complex stock values falling. Yeah. I'm sure you can imagine why. Moving on. So the EU is really pushing, seems like they're going to go ahead and seize the interest on the $300 billion of frozen Russian assets. Now, 2 years ago, the freezing of these assets was intended as a temporary precautionary measure. And again, we see Brussels leading the charge. Should this happen? I mean, this is in violation of international laws, fundamental banking security, and sets a frightening and unprecedented set of circumstance. Now, most of the frozen Russian assets are held in Brussels. Belgium. And Eurodor is the outfit in Belgium. Now they have said and still say, no way, we're not letting the EU take this interest from Russia. But Brussels, again, clearly, I mean, it's evident in so many ways that they don't want the continuance of peace. Van der Leyen and the WEF-led European countries and the UK and China, sorry, not China, Canada, continuing to pump money and wanting, well, the continuance of not peace. To protect democracy. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, in Russia, the difference between immobilization and utilization, theft of their funds, was perceived as a hostile seizure of their sovereign property. So, now, inside of Russian territory, sovereign territory, there's over $1 trillion value in assets, manufacturing, retail, pipelines, the list goes on and on. How many McDonald's they got over there? Who knows, right? And Russia has control over what happens with them. We'll come to that momentarily, back to that momentarily. Now, the big winner in this whole conflict over this period of time has been the BRICS financial alliance. As confidence in the US dollar and the EU dollar's stability and security, think about the seizing of assets and freezing and seizure anyways, have grown increasingly suspect. And we've seen this clearly over the last couple of years as Russia, China, India, I think Turkey, a lot of the BRICS nations are trading in their own currencies back and forth. They're not using the US petrodollar. So the American dollar suffers for it as well as the EU dollar. Excuse me. So in summation, Brussels sells that only by taking the interest on frozen Russian assets and not the principal, it's okay and necessary to prop up the laundromat and the continuance of, the continuance of the protection of democracy. And all that. Now, the largely brainwashed public globally, largely ignorant as to the political nuances of this conflict, are placated, believing the threat to democracy is still stymied, and funds continue to flow. Excuse me, I'll get that out of my system. Into both the ukulele and laundromat and the Western Industrial Defense Complex. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Anyhow, the Siberian bear responded with cold calculation. That $1 trillion+ invested within the sovereign territory of Russia, punitive taxes, new regulatory frameworks, restricted capital flows, legal interventions, perhaps supply chain issues to the factories and such not operating in Russia. I'm sure you can use your imagination. I don't know how the math works on the interest on 300 billion versus the ability to, I'll say, manipulate over $1 trillion in assets functioning, financial functioning, if you will. I don't know. Again, the European taxpayer, the EU dollar, and the American petrodollar have all suffered for all this business. And of course the rich get richer, and it hastens the onset of BRICS, which is bad for Uncle Sam's greenback. Oh yeah, and then Vladimir Zelensky, his right-hand man, just got busted in a $100 million scam and resigned. See how that plays out. Didn't Zelensky just personally bought, what was it, the 4th or 6th largest tract of land in the U.S.? I didn't fact check that, but it seems to be. There's enough of it on social media. Anyways, not to worry. Despite Vladimir's right-hand man getting caught with his fingers in a $100 million pie, what's her name, Anita Anand, here in Canada, assures us we'll continue to support and pour taxpayer money into the laundromat. And Mark the Wef Carney is sending Christia the Wef Freeland over to the ukulele and laundromat to make sure that, I don't know what, but I'm pretty sure it ain't going to be good for us tax-paying Canadians.